We're going to call to order. First order of business, I'd like to invite the fire chief up for a brief public safety announcement. Thank you.
Good evening. Just a quick refresher on the fire exits in the event we have to evacuate. Down here to the left, stage left exit, stage right exit, out the back, and to the right is your quickest way out. And any medical emergencies, just give us a holler. We'll be right up back, and we'll be down to help you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. And the invocation, we have Father Jeremy Wagner here from St. Oscar Romero Parish. He is their parochial vicar. Welcome. Thank you.
God our Father, you reveal that those who work for peace will be called your children. Help us to work without ceasing for that justice which brings true and lasting peace. Amen.
And if I could ask everyone who is able, if you'd please rise in place for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And then before we get into our business, I just wanted to take a brief moment and offer my personal sincere appreciation to the town, to our government, to Public Works, Public Safety. I understand, obviously, we all know we're in the middle of a trash strike at the moment, and to the extent that the town has come together and worked really hard to try to make the situation as tolerable for everyone as possible is greatly appreciated. I appreciate everything the executive office has done. Those that have gone up to Pine Street when they've had a little more than their barrel would be able to handle. Public Works is there, Public Safety has been around, and I think we all should give them a round of applause and appreciation for that. Thank you all. And so now, let's move on to our business. The chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the warrant.
Chair, Alan Karen, 4 Hayden Court, Apartment H. I move to dispense with the reading of the warrant.
We have a motion that's been made. Is it seconded? Been seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I declare the vote unanimous. The chair will also entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the constable's return.
Mr. Chair, Alan Karen, 4 Hayden Court, Apartment H. I move to dispense with the reading of the constable's return.
Motion's been made. Is it seconded? Here's second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I declare that vote unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Karen. Moving on to Article 1, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee moves Article 1, Motion 1 is printed in the warrant.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I declare that vote unanimous. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee moves Article 1, Motion 2 as printed in the warrant.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion on that motion?
This motion grants permission to those non-resident individuals named in the motion to participate in the special town meeting, but not to vote.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no other folks rising, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I declare that vote unanimous. Excellent. Now we'll move on to Article 2, and I will recognize the chairman of the Planning Board, Mr. David McCarthy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I appreciate that. David McCarthy, Canton, Mass. Thank you. I'm going to address Article number 2 on the warrant for the town meeting this evening. So I'm going to go through a couple of just routine items, but I just want to start off with the...
Mr. Chairman, if I may, could you make the motion first?
Yep, that's what I was going to say. I was going to start off with the motion. A motion for zoning Article 9.1 floodplain overlay district. Amend a motion to amend, excuse me, zoning Article 9.1, the floodplain overlay district.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? I hear a second. For discussion, Mr. Chairman.
So I'm going to start a brief discussion on it, pretty routine stuff, and then I'm going to turn it over to the town planner. So Article 2 was published in the Canton Citizen on Thursday, July 10th, 2025.
It is. I will come to you after we have the article presented. Thank you.
On Thursday, July 10th, 2025, and Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and was made available to the Canton Planning Board office and the Town Clerk's office, the Select Board's office, and the Canton Public Library for public inspection. A public hearing was held at the meeting of the Planning Board on Wednesday, July 30th, 2025, and the Planning Board voted 5-0-0 to send a positive recommendation that this article be accepted at town meeting in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws 40A. I will then read the actual article, and then I'm going to turn it over to the town planner. The Planning Board, Article 2, Planning Board discussion. The public hearing was for Article number 2, was held by the Planning Board on July, I'm reading that same script, sorry. I'm good.
No worries. Great, thank you. So we'll move on to the town planner. Mr. Murphy.
Connor Murphy, Town Planner, Town of Canton. The amendments to Section 9.1 include removal of unneeded definitions under Section 9.1.2, new dates for our flood maps under Section 9.1.3, district clarification under Sections 9.1.11 and 9.1.12, amending the text under Section 9.1.14 as it was repetitive with Section 9.1.13, and amending the text under Section 9.1.17 from ordinance to bylaw. I would like to conclude that the text as written in the warrant has been vetted by our state and federal liaisons to ensure the town of Canton has compliant floodplain management regulations and to allow property owners to receive flood insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program.
Thank you. On the motion, I go to the chairman of the Finance Committee.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee voted 5-0 to support Article 2 as printed in the warrant. These amendments to Section 9.1 of the Floodplain Overlay District in the zoning bylaws are essential to protect many of our residents and their properties by ensuring that they have access to the National Flood Insurance Program through town compliance with FEMA regulations. The language of this article has been carefully worded to make sure that it meets those regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the article, Mr. Rohr. Could you go to microphone, please, and identify yourself? Right there in the center aisle. Thank you.
Bruce Rohr, 161 Chapman Street. I'd like to propose a substitute article, very minor change to everything here. It's to add a sentence at the end of section 1.1.16.
Could I ask you to pause? Is it on the screen?
No, it's not.
Louis, is this something that you have? It's not. Okay, please go ahead and read it.
This is two sentences that talk about the liability. It's a liability clause at the very end. And I would just like to add a sentence at the end. Require the town to study the value of removing the dams in Canton to increase flood protection.
Thank you. And is that substantively the same as the email that you sent on Friday?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, on that, if I may, I appreciate the time you took and the thought you put into that. I obviously am trying very hard to make sure I get this right, and this is a particularly sensitive article, as I think everyone is aware. We did take this article up at annual town meeting. When we passed it affirmatively at annual town meeting, it was then vetted by the State Attorney General's office, and it was rejected because the language wasn't exactly what it was they were looking for. So when I received the email on Friday afternoon of your intent to make this amendment, which thank you for doing that, and thank you for sending it in advance so I could prepare, I appreciate that. I obviously started researching what's the procedure to follow that. So again, as I think folks have heard me say a few times, our town bylaws are not quite as specific as I'd like to see them, and therefore I had to go back to town meeting time, which is referenced specifically in our bylaws with regards to how to run town meeting. So with that, I went in and I tried to find, regarding this particular instance, the amendment and what that would be and how I would handle it. And while I want to be clear that I'm just basing it on the information that I saw within town meeting time, it talks about motions of what they call doubtful legality, and I'm not suggesting it's criminal or anything like that. It's just the technical term associated with whether or not the body has the authority to take that up. So based on that and based on my ruling of your amendment, I see a few things. Number one, the ambiguity that's in your sentence enables an interpretation to occur when it says it requires the town. That could be taken by the state to mean that that is a first order business that needs to take place above and beyond the article, which is concerning because they were so vigilant in looking at our language in May, number one. Number two, also it says to perform a study. And as I think as we all know, studies come with a cost, and there's no corresponding appropriation article with this. So in an attempt to try to marry those 2 points, and also the draconian, perhaps, way the state interpreted the language that we sent to them after the Maytown meeting, I want to be very clear that whatever we do consider as an amendment or a substitute motion to the underlying article is something that we as a body have the authority to undertake. With that being the case, at this time, it is my opinion, based on my read of your amendment and of town meeting time and how it guides me, that this would not be something that this body has the authority to undertake at this time for the 2 reasons that I said, and also out of concern for the fact that if we amend this language and it goes back to the State Attorney General's office again, there's a good chance that this could be interpreted the way I am reading it, and therefore they might kick it back to us again, which would put the town at risk for flood insurance. However, I think the point you bring, the intent that I read in what you said, is meritorious. And I think that there might be some other ways that we could handle that situation without having to necessarily put it in this bylaw. So I would ask Mr. Murphy, if he would, I know we're undertaking right now a additional review of action items for the master plan. In a conversation I had with him earlier, he had indicated that he felt that this was something that we may be able to incorporate into that process so that the intent of what you're asking to have done can still be accomplished without incorporating it into this language and putting the town potentially at risk with the Attorney General's office as it relates to the flood insurance that this relates to. So, Mr. Murphy, I'm sorry, the lights are in my eyes. I'm having trouble seeing exactly where you're sitting. Is there a chance you could confirm that that is, in fact, my understanding is correct, and that of my read and the potential jeopardy this would put the town at, number one, and number two, that there is another way that we might be able to incorporate this to accomplish Mr. Rohr's intended outcome?
Excuse me, Mr. Rohr.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Moderator, that is correct. So there's essentially 2 reviews that are going to occur with this amendment. There's going to be a review with our state and federal partners, Department of Conservation and Recreation, as well as FEMA. In addition to that, the state AG's office will review the bylaw before us tonight. That being said, we have worked very diligently with our federal partners on ensuring that the text as submitted is compliant with the National Flood Insurance Program. In addition, this fall we'll be undertaking an update to our action items as part of the town's master plan. Given Mr. Rohr's comments, those are more policy driven, and I would say that would be a welcoming addition to our action items.
Okay. So, Mr. Rohr, I am at this point, unless someone from the front row here or the executive office would like to correct me, I'm going to rule that we don't have the authority to act upon that, and I'll rule the amendment out of order. But I think we've gotten an assurance from the town planner that they will incorporate your desired review into the master plan work.
Could I say something else?
Please do.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I can't really address your first issue, but as far as the cost issue, when anybody, and this is a town meeting rule, introduces an amendment to an article, you have to show the funding source, and I think that's what you're saying here. I'm not proposing that we go to outside consultants or something like that. I propose that the selectmen appoint an advisory committee like we do for green energy and things like that. And a time unlimited thing, but it's something that the town really ought to think about doing. I'm sorry I haven't, I'm not going to have the opportunity to say why this sentence is important in the liability section of Article 2.
Sure. And I appreciate that.
And finally, Mr. Moderator, I would like to get the opinion of town council that I see right here and see he's our legal authority here.
Certainly.
As whether I'm within my rights to offer an amendment.
Sure. So perhaps I could ask the question more directly through the executive office, if I may. Town council, have I overstepped in my interpretation and my ruling this evening? While he's coming to the microphone, I just want to be clear. I just want to make sure we get this right, so when this language is reviewed, the town doesn't have to come back and address it a third time. That's my only intent here. Sir.
The moderator has the authority to rule items out of order. That's part of the duties of a moderator. So the first part of your question is, yes, you have that authority. You're not overstepping it. The second comment I would make is that the proposed article before you has a fixed determination of conduct on the part of the town and standards on the part of the town. The proposed motion wants to make all of that conditioned on something else. I would project that that destroys the purpose of this article. Where there's a motion made that would destroy the purpose of the article, which is to obtain approval of the federal government and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that is out of order.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer.
I would just like to, just a final comment.
Sure.
I've been attending town meeting for 45 years. I've never heard at any article where somebody would stand up and say they want to offer a substitute article, and they were denied the opportunity to discuss the merits of the substitution. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. And again, just for clarity to the audience and to those at home, it is not a personal stance that I'm taking on it. It's the motion itself, the way it was worded, excuse me, the motion to make the amendment, the way it was worded, and the potential can of worms that it creates in a further review. I too agree, in the years that I've been a town official and a town resident, I don't recall this being any kind of a regular thing, but I also don't recall us having to call a special meeting to fix language in an article that we'd already addressed at a town meeting because the state was very specific and our federal regulators were so specific in what the language needed to be. So I've been hypersensitive this time around. I'd like to believe everyone would agree that in May I gave a lot of latitude to a lot of folks on various questions and articles because I wanted everyone to be able to express their opinions. But this one is a very specific situation because we're having a special town meeting for this singular article to correct the language. So I want to make sure that we don't do anything to potentially jeopardize that. So I've been very draconian in my read of this, and I apologize if the gentleman is offended by that professionally. But at the same time, I'm doing what I think is in the best interest of the body and ruling it as such. So I do rule it as such, and so we'll move on to the underlying article. We'll further discussion. Go back to either the planning chair or the town planner. Is there any further discussion you would like to offer? Great. Okay, I'd like to open it up to the audience. I see Mr. Karen is first. Sir.
Alan Karen, 4 Hagen Court, Apartment H. Just want to let town meeting know that the Canton citizen made a minor procedural defect on the publication of the notices for the planning board hearing, but it's my opinion that this defect was not misleading or otherwise prejudicial to the town, as there were many opportunities for this. You know, we all knew that the hearing was on the 30th. We all knew what the that this was a perfecting amendment to an article that we already voted on the May town meeting, and that if, let's say, the previous planner, interim planner, T.J. Torres, had introduced this amendment, easily through a motion to reconsider, the motion to reconsider in May would have easily have passed, and we would have gotten this, perfecting amendment done in May, and not have to come back here tonight to do this. But as a result, though, because the second notice of the public hearing was printed on the 24th in the Canton Citizen, not the 17th, that basically means that when the Attorney General reviews this, the Attorney General is going to invoke Chapter 299 of the Acts of 2000 in Massachusetts, which basically means that the town clerk's going to have to print another notice in the Canton Citizen noting that the Canton Citizen did not print the notices in the exact time of that, but the content of the notices themselves were not misleading or, in my opinion, or prejudicial, because I already knew when the hearing was. There was plenty of opportunities for people to come to the planning board hearing and make their comments. I did. I made my comment, and with that, I do support Article 2, and move that Article 2 be adopted, and that is that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. Sir.
Good evening. Bill Reynolds, 479 York Street. I did read the article. I went online to try to find some information. I just had some basic questions, and I don't even know if this is the right forum, but I'll go ahead and ask them anyway. Do we know how many properties in the town of Canton are affected by the zoning, the flood insurance zoning map that we're going to propose tonight? That's number one. Number two, do we know what the increased area of the town of Canton is that now comes under the floodplain, and how many properties that impacts?
Thank you. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. If I could respond to the gentleman, as it exists today, we have approximately 615 parcels, and that's utilizing the town's GIS system. A parcel can make up one property. It's based on the tax maps, I would like to clarify. In addition to that, the increase in area, I do not know offhand. I would like to note that the overall areas where we see flooding in the town of Canton is not uncommon. You find these near resource areas. We find them in the western portion of the town. We find them by our reservoir and by our ponds. While the area may have increased just slightly, I do not believe it has been an enormous amount of additions parcel-wise.
Great, thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion as printed in the warrant, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the ayes clearly have it. We passed by our 2/3 majority. I declare that it has passed successfully. Mr. Karen.
Mr. Chair, Alan Karen, 4 Hagen Court, Apartment H. I move to dissolve the special town meeting of August 4th, 2025 of the town of Canton.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on dissolving? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Great. Thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciate you taking the time out of a summer evening to join us this evening to take care of this very important business. Hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. And anybody who's interested, take a look at the board. We do have a few openings on a few committees. If you have any interest, please drop us a line with a letter of interest. Thank you very much.